Alright, so the daily law for the morning was keep expanding your horizons. That was the title of the page for February 25th. And that's something I actually talked about in another video. Is that the process of learning is never ending. And in the context of going from an apprentice to a master, that expanding your horizons, although you will have mentors who will push and prod you to become more, that learning phase really there should be that fire inside of you to learn more. You shouldn't have to be held by the hand by a mentor and pointed in certain directions. If you already have that thirst for knowledge and you have that inclination to already look towards sources of information that you aren't necessarily interested in, but know might help with your development, then you're already a step ahead. Excuse me. So yeah, keep expanding your horizons. Look at other fields of interest that may help you develop skills that are beneficial to whatever your interests are. You know, whether it be anything really. I mean, whatever your talents and passions, wherever that lie. You know, there are other fields that'll help in that area. So read as many books as you can from as many different people. I'd say go to the classics. You know, Marcus Aurelius, Meditations is a good book to start with. You know, for a more modern author, I go to Robert Greene. I talk about him a lot. In terms of ancient wisdom, I go to the Kabbalion. You know, read a lot of biographies, learn how they got where they went. You know, when you read a lot about people's life stories, you find out that there was always this moment of struggle. So if you're struggling in your life, it's good to know that you're in good company, because most of the greats did. There was a time of struggle, whether it was their early childhood or their developmental stage when it came to their life's task. There's always a struggle. You know, on the road to greatness, struggle will be there. So you actually don't want to have it too easy. You know, struggle brings strength. So it's a good way to look at it. I said this before too. It's like when you're tempering steel, normally what they do is they put it into, like, we've seen like those old movies where, like, in the medieval times, you know, the swordsmith, they put that sword into the fire and they let it heat up till it's glowing red, and then they take it out and they pound the heck out of it with a hammer, and that's to get all the impurities out. Well, that's a good metaphor for you. That's what you're supposed to be doing with yourself. You're supposed to be throwing yourself into the fire and heating yourself up, and then beating the heck out of you just to get all of what is unnecessary and unhelpful out. And whatever's left over is pure and hardened, raw knowledge and talent. That's what you're looking for. So challenge yourself more often, I think, would probably be my message of the day. Challenge yourself hard and often. You don't want to be soft. You know, the little voice in my head just said, I'll rest when I'm dead. Until then, I'm going hard until it's over. And we'll see what comes of that. I already kind of did the first phase of my life up until about 32. I had it pretty easy. But enough of that. I'm not looking for easy. I'm looking for hard. I like challenges. I like to be challenged. You know, even if I fail in the face of a challenge, there's information in failure. I've said that before too. I think that was another page also out of my book. You kind of don't want to get it right away, because later on if something goes wrong, you're going to be so confused. So you kind of want to stumble along your way to developing into more. That way you know what it was, the mistakes you made along the way helped build you into the person you are now. You know, there's certain people in my life who think, oh, I'm perfect. I don't even want to say who. But yeah, they think they're perfect. I think they've never done anything wrong. And that statement alone is the worst mistake they're making. Alright, let's get on the freeway. So yeah, what else did I see? Trying to look up some like current events, like current topics to talk about, but nothing's really sticking. What did I see on my scroll that was interesting? Honestly, don't remember now. I'm not really on social media as much as I used to. I don't find it as interesting as it was. I do find it interesting though that, I mean, I'm sure the news and the mainstream news might still be talking about it, but the accounts I scroll past, they're not talking about like the whole Russia-Ukraine situation or the Israel-Palestine situation. They're not talking about that as much, which I find interesting. Either they got bored of it, or they don't want you thinking about it because something is going on with it. That's how I see things. If they want you focused on something, then you need to be looking somewhere else. And if they're not focusing on it, that's what you need to be looking at. I'm a bit of a contrarian when it comes to that. What I did hear yesterday, which I thought was fantastically interesting, was I heard, and this is a heck of a chess move, is that China is calling for the complete disarmament of Israel. In order to, I think the headline on the scroll, on the post I saw, was something to the effect of, in order to avoid World War III, China demands Israel disarm. I think that was the exact title. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because that's not going to happen. There's no way on earth Israel will disarm. And if that's the case, then World War III, here we come. And maybe that's why they don't want us, or why it's real quiet when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine, because China just threw in, they just threw their hat into the ring. Like, okay, let's complicate this a little bit and see what happens. And I'm sitting here with my popcorn, just thoroughly entertained. Like, that's a heck of a move. Didn't see that one coming. Because really, when you think about it, what does China have to do with Israel? Nothing really. I mean, geopolitically, I guess, you know, they're all intermingled. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, you know what I looked up yesterday too? I thought was pretty interesting, just out of nowhere. You know, the Book of Revelations came to mind, and something about, I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but I'm accurate about the number. So somewhere in Revelations, I think it mentions something about like a beast with like 10 horns and 10 eyes, and the number 10 was what was in my mind. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then right when I thought about that, the G10 conference popped into my head. I'm like, is that a thing? I think that's a thing where like all the countries come together and they have some sort of conference somewhere in the world, and they call it like the G10. So I looked that up, and I was right. There's something called the G10 conference. But the interesting part about it is that there's like I think 11 countries involved in the G10 conference, and I thought that was interesting. You know, they don't call it the G11 conference; they call it the G10. And there's that number again, 10. You know, and the beast with 10 horns and 10 eyes and 10 whatever. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting parallel. And the way my mind thinks is like they do things like that on purpose. You know, they'll throw a number of significance out there in reference to something that is in the Bible. Because whether you know it or not, even the people that want to see like, even the people that would want a World War III scenario, even though it seems like an evil thing, you know, even the phrase that just jumped into my mind, even the devil believes in God. You know, whether or not you believe in the devil, that's a whole other conversation. But the devil does believe in God. You know, if you believe in the Bible, the devil's a fallen angel. So it's not like evil is ignorant of the idea of God. I mean, that's why Satanists exist. You know, they're anti-God. It's not like they don't believe in God. They very much believe in God. It's just that their God is of the most negative energy you could think of. So that's another interesting thought I had the other day. Aside from that, I had a bunch of weird dreams. Oh, I had a very interesting dream. It was kind of fun. I had a dream that I was in like the biggest ice cream store imaginable, and this was like a vivid dream. It was like a wall of ice cream dispensers, like tall, like 20 feet high. These dispensers, with just rows of them, just one after another, every conceivable flavor you could think of. And they already had like pre-dispensed tiny cups. Like if you ever been to Menchie's, those tiny little, you know, sample cups you can get so you could taste all the different flavors. They already had like one little cup for each flavor, like ready for you to just grab and taste. And there was all kinds of them: strawberry cheesecake, toasted marshmallow, all these like great flavors for ice cream. And I was going for it. I was tasting as many as I could get my hand on. It was great. And then I woke up. And as I woke up, my girlfriend was kind of awake in bed. So I told her about the dream real quick. And then the funny part is I went back to sleep and I started having a dream about telling my girlfriend about the dream. That was funny. And then I had a whole bunch of other weird dreams that I don't remember. All night. One right after another, bunch of dreams. But those are the two that I remember. So there's that. Let's see what else. I don't know. That's pretty much it. Wasted all my stories within the first 10 minutes or 14 minutes of driving. As I was leaving this morning, I saw my neighbor. Maybe lives like 2 doors down. He's got a cat. He's real cute. Black cat. He lets it out. And the cat was downstairs. I live on the 2nd floor. But the cat had walked. He was downstairs just hanging out, kind of checking things out. So as I popped out, I saw the neighbor like looking over the balcony down to the downstairs. I was like, what's this guy doing? And then as I went down the stairs, the cat was like just hanging out, walking around, checking things out down there. I was like, oh, okay. He's keeping an eye on his cat. That's cool. I like people who like animals. People who care about animals can be a bit weird, but I trust them for some reason. For the most part. I can't say that's 100% accurate all the time. But for the most part, animal people are good people. At least dog people. And cat people, I guess. I used to have a cat. His name was Bungie. When I was going through a very interesting phase in life, he was actually the one that opened my eyes to dogs. Yep, we took him on an adventure. He went everywhere with us. We used to go to Universal Studios City Walk and go hang out there. And we'd take him with us. But we'd leave him in the car. We'd, leave all the windows down. He'd be in the car. So we'd go in the City Walk and hang out for a bit. We'd come back. And he'd be gone sometimes. Yeah, it's an interesting story to tell. My girlfriend probably hates that I'm saying it. So we kind of camped out of a car, put it that way. We went urban camping, is how I like to think of it. And while we'd sleep at night, we'd leave the windows open. He'd jump out of the sunroof and just go explore. We'd wake up in the morning, he's not there, we'd be waiting. And he'd jump back down into the car, boom. Okay, let's go. So we'd go do whatever we'd do for the day. And that was our life for a while, just kind of hanging out. It was an interesting phase. I don't know really how to explain it. That was a little bit of a struggle I had to go through. But I blame myself for why Bungie didn't come back. I was miserable at one point. My girlfriend probably killed me for telling the story, or even saying that this happened, but I kind of wished him away. And I think that's why he didn't come back one night. So I blame myself for that. And I don't know if I can ever forgive myself for that, but that's what happened. After that, until we discovered the rescue that actually brought dogs into my life. So maybe that's just how it was meant to be. I don't know how else to think about it. Maybe Bungie was making room for dogs in our life, because now we have the little boy we have now. They probably would have got along, but that just happened to be how the story unfolded. Because I was just sinking. I was a sinking ship. My girlfriend saw it. And that's when we kind of read about this rescue that was saving dogs. And she's like, let's go check it out. So we did. And that became our daily thing. But I blame myself for Bungie. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for that. I try not to think about it, because I felt like I wished him away. And that was the night he never came back. I can see him in my head right now. He jumped up onto he used to jump up where the sunroof was open and sit for a second before he would like walk down the windshield and then go explore. I just remember having a terrible thought. And he sat there for a moment, kind looking around before he left, and that was the last time I saw him. I guess the best thing I can say about that is appreciate everything you have in your life when you have it. You never know when it's going to go. Enjoy every moment, even in your worst time. If you could just find a little sliver of light and a little sliver of hope and happiness, just try to find it. And never wish things away, because it just might go. And if it does, you'll never forgive yourself for doing that. Best advice I can give. What I hate the most about that situation is it really kind of destroyed my girlfriend a little bit. And I blame myself for that too. I guess that's why I threw myself into dogs so much. Because after he didn't come back, I knew I did that. So when dogs entered my life, I just 100% threw myself into it. Trying to make amends for the mistake I made. So I guess like when they get into fights, I don't even care about me. I just throw myself into it. Or like when it comes to protecting especially kids and animals, I'll throw myself into that 100% when it comes to protecting that. The things that can't protect themselves. It's the only way I can make amends for what I did, I think. That's the only thing that makes sense in my mind. Like our little boy now, whatever I have to do to protect him. I don't even get to spend a lot of time with him because I'm working so often. The little head in my mind, the little voice in my head, just I'll kill for him. I don't care. If someone did something to him, that'd be it. You're done. thing, if anybody does anything to her, you're done. And you won't see it coming. So yeah, this video got a little dark. Sorry about that. I didn't think I was going to think about all that. So yeah. I guess that's why I'm so into self-development too, because the image of a phoenix comes to mind. If you don't know what the mythical icon of a phoenix is it grows to a certain point and then bursts into flames, only to be reborn out of its own ashes. It's just the cycle of rebirth, like embodied in like this mythical creature. It's like a flaming bird. That's what a phoenix is. And I guess part of me just wants to destroy me over and over again. I don't know why. That's like that reckless streak I have inside of me. It's the part of me that wants to mash on the gas pedal and go as fast as I can. I want to see the speedometer pegged. Let's see, this one says it can go 140, 45, 50. This one says this car can go 155 miles an hour. I haven't seen that yet. But in my other car, I've seen the speedometer pegged to the max. I don't even know what that one said. I don't think I'll ever do that in this car. I'm trying not to be that person. But I know I have it in me, which is a little scary. So that's the bit of the darkness that's in me that I have to contend with. It's not healthy. So it's not something I'm bragging about. But I have a very dark, destructive little seed inside of me that wants to bloom, that I have to keep under control. Yo, what are you doing? You gonna let me get over or what? What are you doing? So yeah, this video is almost over. Sorry for all that drama. I hadn't thought about that in a while. Any of that. To be honest, I try not to think about it. Because I just want to do terrible things myself when I think about it. So I stay away from those thoughts. But yeah, that's my mind. There's a part of me that knows that's why I try to distract myself with like podcasts and just other things. This is a very, very dark side to me that I have to, I've confronted it to a certain degree, but it's there in a way that I don't want to engage with very often. That's why I'm the goofball at work. I'm always laughing, or I find everything. That's why I find everything funny. I have to find everything funny, because to be honest, the reality of everything is pretty wild. way, that's not funny. I'll just laugh at it anyways. Alright, this is my exit. Safe so far, even though I haven't parked. Park. So I guess to end this, I'll say, keep pushing yourself to grow and surround yourself with people who champion that on. Appreciate everything you have and never wish any of it away. Just be that kind of person. I guess that's something we all have to work on. All right, let's go to work.